Welcome to the Clack Shack, and tonight I'm going to be off camera and just doing a screen grab on this design. We've got a little bit of break from the heat, so I'm able to sit out here in the shop and do some work, and I've got a few hats coming later in the week that I need to get a design for, and this is going to be something for my local folks, and so I'm going to be using one of my files from my art gallery here, and go ahead and drop that. That is a shape of the county in which I live, and we're going to be using that to create this graphic. So if you want to see how I go about doing that, then this video is for you. So without any further ado, let me get to making this patch here where we can get this done. So as you can tell, I started out by using one of my art files, which is this guy. Alright, I'm just going to bring that art file out here into my workspace, and I'm going to confirm how big it is, because this is going to be my outer cut for my design, and I like my patches to be 56 tall. So I'm going to go ahead and change that, make sure that it's locked on the aspect ratio so that it doesn't change the size of it. Make that a little bigger. Alright, I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to do my inset, and I'm going to inset inward 3 millimeters to create that second line. And this second line here is going to be to attach the circles for the sewing on of the patch, and that'll be, you know, later, but this is just, we're just designing the patch right now. So once I do that, I'm going to go out here, and because I have learned that when you do this, well, let me just show you. Okay, I'll demonstrate. For the first thing that you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take that shape, figure out exactly where it starts at. But here's the problem, is if you use, well, let's use this line. That's a bad example. Let's use this line. If you use one that is from your art library, I have learned, if you were to try to use this shape and you just duplicate this shape and you try to use it, these things are made as a vector file that is ready to go when you put this stuff in your art library. So if you, no matter how many times you click on the nodes, it is not going to show you the nodes. The way that you have to overcome that, if you have this and you're wanting to use that shape and you don't, when you duplicate it, it doesn't let you edit the nodes, is you have to go in and ungroup it. And when you ungroup it, then when you select on that shape and hit show nodes, it will show the nodes. So just a little tidbit for you there. So luckily, when I brought this in on this inset here, it's allowing me to see the nodes automatically, and I can see that this graphic starts right here. Well, this is kind of an oddly shaped graphic, so I'm really not concerning myself over whether or not everything's going to hit the corners. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just make me a little circle here, and I'm going to set said circle to 1.5 by 1.5, which is the size that I have decided I like the holes to be able to sew these things on. And I'm going to make sure where my starting point is, because it's not on a corner, so it makes it a little, get out of there, it makes it a little different when you start adding this thing. So it is right there. So I'm just going to take and select this circle and try to move it down to where it is centered over that. Relatively close anyway. And so that should have me relatively close to the center of that starting node. Alright, then the next phase, if you watched my other video and you recall, is you have to select the shape that you want to replicate, and then select the line that you want to replicate it to. Once both of those are selected, and you can tell they're selected by the arrows and the way it's traveling, then all you would do is go to arrange and copy a long path. I used 5 on mine, the last patch I did, and it worked out really nice. And so I'm going to set that to do a circle every 5 millimeters. Now, as you can see, not all of them are in the corner perfectly. I mean, you can slide these guys. If it bothers you that much, you can slide these guys over into the corner. Then you can copy that one, and you can strategically place you another one there Now you're going to have a little shorter, a little shorter span between these guys, but it probably would make it look better when you're sewing it if these were on the corners. So you can just adjust, you just have to adjust these as needed and add them as needed to kind of clean up the way the thread is going to ride once you start sewing this thing on. Like I said, those will be a little closer together, but if it messes with you, if it concerns you, then this works. You just add these extra holes. It's going to mess the spacing up, like I said, so your spacing is not going to be perfect if that's a concern. Got lucky, I got one landed on that corner, one landed on that corner. Got a little bit of a debacle going on here. So I'm going to slide that one down right there. I'm going to drop me another hole on that corner. And that is just basically to get the thread to kind of follow the shape and not be making too many abrupt moves. So, not overly concerned about it, but OCD does cause you to want to move things around a little. So the rest of those worked for me. So yeah, I had to add a few holes into the patch design, circles wise, but that worked out. So I'm happy with that. So the next part of this is I'm going to add some text and an image in the middle here. Now, I have that text and that image in my files here, or did have. I'm assuming I still have it. Okay, maybe I don't. So apparently it doesn't matter. Either way, I'm going to get to redo this. Oh, there it is. But this is the text and stuff that I was going to add right here. But since we are here to learn, I will do this the old-fashioned way and show you how I created that text. So the first thing is we're going to take and get my peach in. Wow, that's a big peach, guys. And we're going to make the peach into a workable size first. Alright, and the peach, just to give you a little backstory, that's kind of what this area is known for, and so that's why it's a peach, guys. Alright, so now I'm going to create me a couple of circles, and let me kind of gauge how big I want those circles. Okay. Yeah, that'll be alright, right about there. Yeah, so I'm going to make these circles 30 by 30. Making sure that they're circular. Alright. So this is going to be a tool line. So I'm just going to change that over to a tool line. And then I'm actually going to create two of them. So I'm going to duplicate that one. Alright, and on the first tool line, I'm going to move these apart, and you'll see why here in just a minute. I want to get them away from each other for a second. Alright, on the first one, I'm going to put my text, and I'm going to put Chilton, which, let's do this in all uppercase. I didn't do that a while ago. And then on this one, I want, well, no. This one's going to say Chilton County. Alright. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to first change this over because I do not want that to be a tool line. I want that to be a text. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to select my text, and I'm going to select my circle. Go to Tools, Apply Path to Text. Now, it's got my text a little jacked up here. So what I'm going to have to do is rotate this guy. So if there's an easier way to do this, you got to put it at the starting point. But anyway, this works. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to rotate this text 90 degrees. Alright, and I'm just going to flip this guy. Oh my goodness. There we go. Woo! Sorry guys, I was getting a little confused on my flipping there. All right, and so this next one, I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna put my text here, and it's gonna be Alabama, which is the state. And I'm gonna, while that's still selected, I'm gonna select, well, actually I've got to change my cursor. I'm gonna select this other circle here, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take and I'm gonna apply text to the path, and then I'm going to rotate that one minus 90 degrees and put it on the bottom. So now I have both of these built, and so I'm just going to put those together. Alright guys, I apologize, but the wife walked in during the middle of my recording here, and I had to pause it. The only thing that I've changed is I forgot that I wasn't recording, and I kind of changed my orientation of the design and enlarged the size of the peach so that you could, have it in a little bit better location and have it more visible. Now, the one thing that I have noticed is all of my circles here, for whatever reason, have managed to turn into the blue scratch line that I did not want. So this is a little cheat that I figured out. If you turn off everything except for those, you can actually highlight this stuff and change the cut to whatever you want to change it to without having to go in and individually do those. So I'm going to change that back and put my graphic back, and now I can actually take that little small tiny line and make it back like I wanted it to the scratch line. So that way I didn't have to go through there and painstakingly click every one of those things. If you'll use these little show and hide buttons, it keeps you from accidentally selecting something that you don't want to select, and allows you to select the things that you do want to select. So I'm going to go ahead and preview this just to see what she looks like there, and that will be the end result on the patch. I've got some leather up on the machine, and I guess in the I could throw the overhead camera up and go ahead and burn that and let y'all see what it burns like. But give me just a minute to get everything set back up. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll run that. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. I've got the patch completed, and if I can get the light out of you guys, maybe you can see that. And I took the air hose and blew all those little pieces out of the holes, and it worked out. It worked really well, and I'm happy with the look. You'll remember that this is the patch that I designed the last time everybody was here. And I've got a hat. I think I left it in the house, but I've already sewn one of these onto a hat. I've got some more hats coming, and I've actually got somebody that is a fellow YouTuber that has asked me to make them a hat, and they're going to wear it. So we'll see if that works out. But this is the design that I'm working on for a event that we got coming up, and I got a few people that's wanting a hat, and so I'm going to sew this on to one and see how that goes. But I hope this helped you out. Like I said, in all my videos, I try to tell you I am not a professional. I figure this stuff out, and I just like to share the information with people and maybe help make your day a little bit easier, a little bit better. I don't have any of these little designs on Etsy. A couple people have asked me about it, but to be honest, it's easy enough to build it. I don't think there's a demand for that, and I really don't see a need in it. So, but feel free to subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Got any questions, feel free to drop that in the comments. I will be adding the materials that I use to make my hats with, as far as this particular leather. And keep in mind now, this leather, I sand it a little bit lightly depending on the look that I want. Once I get the burn done to it, I hit it lightly with different grain sandpaper, depending on whether I want the coarse look or whether I want the kind of, you know, smooth but faded look or whatever. Because I like to distress these things and make them look more authentic. I don't like the tan, you know, almost plastic looking leather. That's just not my thing. If it's yours, that's fine, but it's just not my thing. So, but I will add the leather to the description of the video, as well as the sewing kit. So if anybody didn't catch it in the last video and it's something you're interested in, you can drop down there and click on those and order. So, but that's it, and I'll catch you next time. I appreciate you stopping by, and have a good day.